Hey, what's up? Will from Flow Candy. So today I'm going to talk about how to hire developers for your e-commerce store or e-commerce brand. And I've, hired a ton of developers for our agency Flow Candy. I've also helped some of our clients that are sort of larger e-commerce brands in the mid-market actually hire developers and put them on their org chart. And I've sort of helped them vet them out and help them find um, just sort of recruit them and stuff like that. Um, and, you know, throughout like experiencing that, I've sort of begun to realize that a lot of brands do this the wrong way. And the reality is, most of them focus too much on the actual skills of the developer. And look, the developer obviously has to have some skills. In my experience, you probably need like a full stack developer, somebody who can, you know, troubleshoot HTML or code HTML and CSS. If you're on Shopify, can do like understand Shopify Liquid. Also, somebody that can understands other languages like JavaScript and can troubleshoot APIs and different apps and connecting APIs from all these different apps now. So yeah, you definitely need somebody that understands that, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing when hiring a developer, really any role within your company, is are they a culture fit? And there's two things that I'm looking for before their skill set or their resume necessarily. The first thing I'm looking for, and this is the most important, is and we like to call it a flow candy. Like, do they have grit? I've also heard other people say, do they have like the will? Do they have like a spark? Do they like hustle? Do you like just notice this like real desire in them to show up and do really really good work? And I think that's really really important because what you want is somebody who's going to show up, and when they face a challenge, because let me tell you, there's going to be challenges, especially in a dynamic e-commerce store that's growing really fast, where things are going to break, code is going to break all the time. You want somebody who's going to like be able to not only spot that in real time without you having to be like, hey, this is broken, but is going to go out there and hustle and get it done, and not necessarily ask you questions about it. So that's why grit is super super important, in any role, but definitely with the developers. The second thing that's really important is, are they a values fit for your organization? Now, I highly recommend installing values in your company. At Flow Candy, we have 7. I'm not going to talk about all of them right now, but there's a couple that are really important to me when I'm looking for a developer. So the first one that's really really important is, and we call it playing chess, not checkers. That's one of our values at Flow Candy. So I'm looking for developers that what I would call know how to play chess. And what that basically means in layman's terms is, do they think dynamically? Are they thinking a couple chess moves ahead, and they're not just thinking about they're not just doing like short-term thinking. In a real business case example of that would be, let's say they have to edit something in the Shopify checkout. They go in there, they start tweaking a bunch of code, they don't do any quality control, and then the Shopify checkout is down now, and now you're no longer collecting revenue, and it's up to you to pick it up because they're not really gritty, and they didn't really catch it the first time. And a developer that's really playing chess, they understand the business side of things a little bit. Like I have a couple developers on my team right now, Damian and Boris, who are excellent at this. They're very good at understanding the technical problems that might happen on the business case I just mentioned, like the Shopify checkout. But then they play chess, they understand like, hey, this is really important, this Shopify checkout. If I do this, this could happen. If I break this pixel, it could break the Facebook advertising, and it could screw up the media buying team. If I delete the triple whale pixel, that could impact our reporting team. So they understand all of that. And so they're really good at sort of thinking a couple moves ahead. And you really want somebody that, I mean, at least in our company, that value is really important to hiring developers, and being able to see, okay, does this person really think dynamically and understand like other things that are going on besides just code and coding within an organization? And you'd be surprised like how many like very qualified developers don't think like that. They just are very single binary focused. They're playing checkers, as we like to say. They're not They're not playing chess. So that's one thing that's really important. Another thing I look for, at least in my company, we have another value called simple scales, complex fails. I love developers who keep it simple, not only in terms of like their code, it's simple code that can sort of scale and last for a long time as the company scales, but also they're really good at like explaining, simplifying complex things. I love that when I see that in developers, because that means that not only they have like, higher EQ skills, but they just understand that like, hey, like not everyone thinks like them, not everyone understands this, and they can like really simplify things, and sort of dumb it down for people to understand. So that's why I like to really make sure that I shared sort of the values. I shared why we like to hire on grit, and I think the reason is because in my experience, that's what truly makes an A player. It's not necessarily the skills. It's not necessarily do they get the results. It's truly, are they a values fit, or do they have that grit, because that makes them a culture fit for your organization. And here's where I think a lot of e-commerce brands, or a lot of organizations just in general, get this wrong, is that again, they focus on the skills, and the reality is that if you get somebody who really is gritty and really is a good values fit for your organization and a good culture fit for your organization, they're going to figure out how to acquire the skills and get the results themselves on their own if they don't have them already. So that's why I love hiring based off that, because the skills are always going to change. I mean, right now I'm filming this in August 2024. 5 years from now, 6 years from, there's going to be some whole other new app in e-commerce or digital marketing with this new API, maybe this new language or tech stack, and you're going to have to upskill these people anyway. So you might as well have somebody onboard someone that's a really good culture fit to begin with, who's just going to upskill themselves on their own without you having to go and show them how to do that. So that's my tips on how to hire a developer. Let me know your questions. Let me know where you're stuck. Happy to share any other tips I've learned along the way. Thanks for watching.